Today we're going to talk about mean absolute deviation. This is the second topic that we're going to discuss in Module 16, right after the topic of mean. And we understand that mean, what we just learned was that the mean is the average of a data set of numbers. So we have a list of numbers and we want to find the mean for these numbers. So just real quick, let's just go over what that might mean. And I'm just going to take some real quick, let's just say we have a data set of 1, 4, 6, and 8. I don't know what you might want to pretend what they are. The number of, Skittles that the friends had at the party. I don't know. And we want to find what the average is. And what the average does find for us is the center fact, it's the center number of this data set of numbers. It kind of tells you what the average number of Skittles was that the children ate at the party. So when you add all these up, and that's how you want to find the mean. Again, this is just a little review of what we just did. If you add these up, you have 1 plus 1 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. That should equal to 20. And in order to find the mean or the average for these numbers is we're going to divide it by the number of numbers, which is 5. And therefore, we know that the average number of Skittles eaten by the children at the party were 4. Okay, so that's just a little refresher on what mean means. What mean absolute deviation means is we are going to take the data set of numbers now and its mean after we find its mean, and we're going to find out and analyze, summarize this numerical data by finding out how far away these numbers are from the mean. How far does it deviate? Okay, so the word deviate comes from the word deviation. And let's just discuss what deviate might mean. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one. Okay, good. So I have this funny little looking picture here. 2 children walking along a path. The word deviate, it's very important that you understand what deviate means in this particular math concept because it's going to help you understand why and how we're going to get the mean absolute deviation. So the word deviate actually comes from, it's actually the meaning is, I guess going off the beaten path is the best way we could describe it, which is why I have this picture here. It's how we differ from a course. And, think of it this way. We have these children walking along the path and we expect them to continue along this path and to go straight. Maybe they're on the way to grandma's house and mom told them, make sure you stay on this path. Don't deviate from this path. And that means, don't turn off. Don't make a quick right off the path. And you don't want to deviate from the path. So you want to just continue to go straight on that path. Okay, so now let's use it in a more of a practical way. So let's take the term mean absolute deviation, and I'm going to describe exactly what absolute means in this phrase as well later on. But we understand mean, we understand deviation, and let's just take this quick little example of, I don't know, an ice cream shop owner. This is the best thing I could think of at the moment to describe for you. Let's just say that he's trying to get some data on the amount of people that came into the shop during a certain hour on a certain day. And, this is just going to help him with his business analyzation and, things like that and economics of running his business. So let's just say, take this example that on Tuesday from 12 p.m. from 1 p.m., and these are the times that he's going to take the survey of the ages of people that walked into his shop on Tuesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. So we want to find, in order to find the mean absolute deviation, the very first thing that you have to do, the first step is to find, let's just write down actually step 1, find the mean. Okay, so we're going to find the mean of the data set of numbers. All right, so that's step number 1 is find the mean. So we're going to do, let's go ahead and I'm going to add this here, 2 plus 23 plus 30 plus 65 plus 75. Okay, we add those up real quick and that should be 195. Okay, and we have 5 numbers, so I'm going to divide those 5 numbers. I'm going to divide those 195 by the 5, and I'm going to get a total of 39. Okay, so if you divide that and you do all that work, you'll figure out that you have 39. So the mean for this data set of numbers is 39. Okay. Now let's just say you took the survey again on a Saturday. All right. Saturday is a much busier time of the week. You know, everyone's off. Most people are off. You know, most people are not working. Some people do work on the weekends, but we could assume, looking at this data set of numbers too, the Tuesday, you know, you're looking at the ages of these people that entered into the shop. And this is eventually what he's going to go into, the store owner, and how he's going to analyze this data. He's going to look at maybe, you know, Tuesday, there was a 2-year-old. He's obviously not in school. And maybe the 23-year-old was, you know, I don't know, someone who was working next door and taking their lunch break. The 30-year-old could have been the mom of the 2-year-old, and the 65 and 75-year-old, well, they're retired, so they can go on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. into the ice cream shop and get an ice cream. Saturday, you're going to have more people during the day that normally would be working during the week and maybe not working on a Saturday that can come in. So let's look at these numbers and let's find the mean for this next set. So we're going to do the 17 plus the 29 plus the 40, 52, and 57. Okay, so when we add these up, we are also going to get 195. Look at that. Very interesting. And of course, you know, when we find the mean, we're going to divide it by the number of numbers, and we get 39. Lo and behold, the same mean. Okay, so now looking at these numbers and realizing that we get the same mean for the both data set of numbers, what someone can assume without actually looking at the numbers is, oh, you know, well, Tuesdays and Saturdays, they get around and about the same type of people in the store, in the ice cream shop. And that's actually not the case. You get, you know, a little bit of a different feel from both the list of ages for Tuesday and Saturday. And there's a completely different story happening here. There's a much wider range of ages on Tuesday than there is on Saturday during those hours. So this is where the mean absolute deviation comes into play. A business owner in this case would want to look at the mean absolute deviation just to help him figure out how to better run his business on a Saturday and a Tuesday when you get these different types of age groups. Okay, so in order to do this, let's find out how far away each one of these numbers are from the mean. So what we want to do is now take the ages, each one of the ages, and find its distance from its mean. So that is how we are going to work our way into finding the mean absolute deviation. So the second step is to find the distance, from the mean for each one. So each one of the numbers, make sure you indicate that that's each one of the numbers. So this is where the word absolute also comes into play. Okay, being that you're 6th graders and you have yet to learn how to add and subtract integers, that's why the word absolute comes into this. What I'm going to ask you to do is just kind of take a brief look at what I'm going to do here, even though you don't know how to add and subtract integers, and then I'll just give you a quick little shortcut on how we're going to do that. So we're going to take each one of these numbers, we're going to complete step 2 by taking each one of them and subtracting them from the mean. So what you're supposed to do, and then these are the absolute value bars, we've learned about what they are. And we're going to say the absolute value of 2 minus 39 in this case is going to be the first one. Okay. And then we're going to add that to finding the second number's difference and distance between that and the mean. And we're going to find the absolute value of that. So now, again, like I said, since you don't know how to subtract or add integers, positive and negative numbers, let's just look at it this way. What is 39 minus 2? What is the difference? And right now in 6th grade, you can do that. You can kind of think of what is the distance, and that's where the word absolute value comes into play. And you know that absolute value is always referencing how far away something is from 0. So let's just think of how far away 2 is from 39. And we know that 2 is how far away 2 is from 39, and that is, it's 37 units away from that. Hold on, let me just get my my pen here. So it is 37 units away. So we're going to go 37 here. So we'll put that right underneath the 2 so we can kind of keep track of how far away we're going to indicate that each one of these ages are from its mean. So the next one, we know 23 is so we have 23. Yeah, sorry. 23 is 16 units away from 39, and 30 is 9 units away, obviously, from 39. And then we have 65. Again, you can go to the side and do your subtracting just to see if I'm correct. 65 is 26 units away from 39, and 75 is 36 units away from 39. So what we want to do here to find the mean absolute deviation is to take now these 5 numbers, add them up. So we're going to add them up and do a little quick calculation and then divide them. We're doing the mean again. We're doing the mean of the differences. That's really what we're doing here. And we're going to add them up. We're going to get, for this one in particular, it should be 124. Divide that by 5, and we should get, it's going to be a decimal answer. It's going to be somewhere around 24.8, or we could say, so not to go into this area here, it's 25. Let's just say it's about 25. So the mean absolute deviation for this particular list is 25. So now let's go on to the Saturday, and let's do the same thing for those ages. 17, how far away is 17 from 39? So we're going to say that's 22, and the next one would be 10. And you see where I'm going with this, right? So we're subtracting again, seeing how far away each one of these numbers are from that mean, this particular mean. And again, we're going to add them up, just like it's another data set of numbers that we're trying to find the mean of. And for this one in particular, you're going to get 64, total up to 64, divided by 5. And when you get this answer, you're going to get 12.8, another decimal answer, which is going to be rounded about 13. Okay? So now look at the differences here. I'm going to highlight these with red. Look, this is the mean absolute deviation of the lists. We've got 25 and we've got 13. That's a big difference, and that's something that a store owner would want to see and use that kind of information, because he realizes on Tuesday, 25 was a little bit more condensed and closer to the 39 mean that they got, but 13 was very far away, which means there was a big variation between the mean absolute deviation, or we'll call it the MAD. I forgot to mention the fact that that is the that's how we symbolize mean absolute deviation. Just a quicker way of saying it. The MAD, finding the MAD of the numbers. 25 and 13 are very far apart. So this is a big difference, and something that the store owner can use. He's going to realize that there was a much bigger spread. The number here, 25, just indicates that there was a bigger spread. There was a bigger variation in the numbers. I mean, look at it this way. He did go from the ages of 2 to 75 on a Tuesday. So there was a bigger range of age groups that came into the ice cream shop. Whereas on Saturday, they were mainly closer to around the center for that matter. And there wasn't a big variation. So these numbers actually mean that variation. There wasn't that big of a variation here for Saturday as there was on a Tuesday. And for whatever reason, he's going to use that information. So what I did forget to put in here is in part 3 is that you want to find the mean of those differences also. So how to find the mean absolute deviation is, number 1, you want to find the mean of the numbers, the data set of numbers. So sometimes they have you compare to, and sometimes they only have you do one list. And then the second step is to find the distance. So you now have to go and subtract and find the distance from the mean. So we'll go ahead and continue writing the third step. So you want to find the mean of the distances that you just found. And you put those 3 steps together and you have found the mean absolute deviation.